All right, let's dive right into this explainer and do a little time traveling. Picture this. It's the year 79 AD, and you just woke up in the incredibly vibrant, bustling Roman city of Pompeii. The markets are packed, people are walking the streets, laughing, gossiping, and just hanging out. And looming quietly in the background, Mount Vesuvius. Honestly, it feels like just another totally ordinary day under the shadow of the mountain. But as we're about to see, ordinary is about to turn into a literal fight for your life. Because here's the catch, and it's a massive one. You've got exactly 24 hours to survive before that seemingly peaceful volcano completely obliterates the city. I really want you to put yourself right in the middle of the scenario. Your mission is pretty straightforward, but incredibly daunting. Survive the next 24 hours. How do you think you'd fare? Let's walk through exactly what you'd be up against. Phase 1, the warning signs. Okay, so you're out exploring the city. Merchants are hawking food, blacksmiths are hammering away, kids are running around the streets playing. Everything around you screams that this is just another totally normal day in the Roman Empire. But then you feel it. The ground starts to slightly shake. I gotta ask you directly, would you stay calm or would you immediately get suspicious? See, if you were a local in Pompeii back then, you'd probably just shrug it off. Small tremors had been happening in this region for years, so most citizens just went right on about their business. They stayed calm. But in a survival scenario, staying calm when the earth is quite literally moving beneath your feet might be your absolute first major mistake. Especially because as the day rolls on, the environment itself is practically screaming at you to pay attention. Weird things start happening all over the city. Animals are highly sensitive to seismic changes, right? And they are acting incredibly nervous. Dogs are just barking nonstop. If you happen to look up, you'd notice birds suddenly flying away from the mountain in huge flocks. Even the air itself just feels noticeably different. Heavy. Now, knowing what we know today, we'd spot these as huge red flags. But back then, nobody else in Pompeii seems the least bit concerned. And if you tried to warn the laughing, unbothered citizens around you, honestly, they'd probably just laugh right in your face. Phase 2, the first explosion, the point of no return. So these strange little signs continue all through the night. But the next morning, the tension finally shatters. Out of nowhere, a sudden, massive explosion violently shakes the very sky above you. Boom! The sheer force of the sound is absolutely deafening. People instantly stop dead in their tracks and stare. All that laughter in the markets, it dies instantly. The eruption is officially on. In those crazy, heart-pounding minutes right after the blast, this terrifying sequence of events just rapidly unfolds. Step 1, a giant, dark cloud violently shoots up from Mount Vesuvius, completely blocking out the sun. Step 2, within minutes, ash actually starts falling from the sky. But we're not talking about a light dusting here. It's falling thickly, almost like this bizarre, heavy gray snow coating the streets and the buildings. Step 3, panic quickly spreads. The citizens of Pompeii finally realize, okay, this isn't just another minor earthquake. The sky is getting pitch black and total unadulterated chaos takes over. Phase 3, hide or escape? We've got to pause the relentless action for just a second here, because now you are faced with the ultimate ticking clock survival dilemma. You really only have two options. Option 1, hide inside a building. Option 2, escape immediately. Now, human instinct for a lot of people in Pompeii was to go with option 1. They chose to stay indoors. I mean, it logically feels safer to be under a solid roof when ash and debris are literally raining down from the sky, right? But this is a deadly trap. That heavy ash accumulates so incredibly fast, and it actually starts collapsing roofs all across the entire city, so staying indoors quickly becomes a fatal mistake. You have to choose option 2. You just have to run. But look, choosing to escape brings its own absolute nightmare of a reality. You decide to run, but the streets are complete gridlock. You're trying to navigate through these massive crowds of terrified people, everybody pushing past each other, desperately trying to find their loved ones. On top of that, the thick ash is filling the air, making it incredibly hard to even draw a breath. You are quite literally suffocating while you run. But you've just got to keep moving, because every single minute is a fight for your life, and every single step you take away from Pompeii pushes your survival odds just a little bit higher. Phase 4, the pyroclastic nightmare. And you really need to be far, far away by now, because a few hours later, the absolute worst-case scenario arrives, the pyroclastic flow. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a deadly, completely unstoppable cloud of superheated gas and ash, and it races down the side of Mount Vesuvius faster than a speeding car.
This is a terrifying phenomenon because it is 100% inescapable if you are anywhere in its path. Nobody can outrun this thing. This burning cloud slams into the city, burying entire sections of Pompeii in an instant, trapping thousands of people who either decided to stay behind or who just couldn't run fast enough.
It is actually staggering to look back at this rapid 24-hour timeline. Think about it. You start one morning with some unsettling, mostly ignored tremors. By the next day, a massive explosion just shatters the sky. And a few short hours after that, a superheated pyroclastic flow hits, bringing total geographic destruction. In literally 24 hours, an entire bustling Roman city is just wiped completely off the map. So if you made the right choices, if you didn't ignore those early signs, if you didn't trap yourself indoors, if you managed to push your way through those chaotic streets, you are now finally outside the city limits. But the reality you're standing in is stark and pretty grim. The sky above you is pitch dark, ash is covering the ground for miles in literally every direction. Behind you, Vesuvius is just continuing to roar, playing this terrifying soundtrack to your escape. And as you look over your shoulder, Pompeii is simply vanishing into the ash. You survived, but the city sure didn't. The aftermath of this single 24-hour period is truly mind-boggling. Pompeii was entirely entombed under millions of tons of ash and volcanic rock. And because of that massive blanket of debris, the entire city remained completely hidden from the world for nearly 1,700 years. It just sat there underground, this perfectly preserved snapshot of a horrific final day, until archaeologists finally stumbled upon it centuries later. So, we've just walked through one of history's most famous and devastating disasters in this explainer. But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. Looking at the reality of just how incredibly fast this all happened, and how super easy it was for the locals to ignore those subtle early clues, would you have genuinely recognized the warning signs before it was too late? Would you have actually escaped Pompeii, or would you have been buried right there with the rest of the city? Definitely something to think about the next time you feel the ground give a little shake.